My name is Heather, and I am a survivor of a very extreme case of domestic violence.
Hey beautiful people, how you are doing today? It's your girl Destiny here and welcome to my channel. How you are doing? Hope you guys are doing great. So this video is a story time, and this story time is trigger warning guys, is a DV and even just because like guys. Okay. But it's a woman who came online to share a story of how she was almost unalived by her husband and how everything pans out. If you literally see this woman physically, she has a deform, and that's because her husband poured acid in her face directly. And she's sharing her story, letting women to know in DV situations that they can get out and they should get out. And a lot of the time as women, we underplay DV, or because we're married, we want to make it work. Even when it's not working, we want to make it work. And this woman went on to share a story, and she talked about how she has actually left, but this man came to beg her, and she went back, and that was when the ordeal happened. And she narrated everything step by step on how it happened. But I'm sharing the story just to share more light on DV and different form of DV, because sometimes we share the story and we don't really get into such intense part where sometimes sometimes your spouse wants to unalive you because you want to live. They don't want you to live. They know they can exist without you, and you're fed up. You can't do this anymore. You want to leave. They will do everything means necessary to stop you, even if it means like they have to unalive you. And for me, this is a different angle to DV, and we're going to check it out. So let's go check out the sister's story, but I'm going to leave a name. You guys know here on this channel, I don't leave names of creators. That's because I don't want to send hate to anybody, or because I don't know how this video is going to go, if it's going to blow up and if it's going to attract new people, because I know my people, we have respectful conversation. Okay, I'm not talking to up to you guys, but the new people that might see this video, please, nobody should go send any negative energy, hate, or anything. The reason why I'm dropping it, which I'm stating, the reason why I'm dropping a name on it is the fact that people that are in such situation, DV situation, that wants to get at can try to reach out, or probably a community or something. That is why I'm leaving a handle. Anyway, guys, let's go check out the sister's story and then we'll come back and talk more.
So this video's been a long time coming. I wasn't sure how I was going to do it or when, but I feel that in honor of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, it is time to get my story out there. My name is Heather, and I am a survivor of a very extreme case of domestic violence. I was married for over 11 years to my husband, who ultimately held me down and chemicals into my eyes. And this is the result of that. I've had 5 reconstructive surgeries. When it first happened, my eyelids were completely off. I've only seen one picture of that, and I don't care to ever see it again. It was absolutely horrifying.
Wow.
And in the moment, I believed I was going to. My husband held me down on the floor, and he poured chemicals into my face. And as I laid there screaming, all that he could tell me was, if I wasn't quiet, that he would put it down my throat and it would insides, and I would suffocate. And so I stopped screaming, and I was as quiet as I could be because I didn't. And so I started to pray. And I leaned into God, and I prayed, and I prayed, and it was eventually over. He took me to the hospital. I still didn't come forward at that time that he had done it to me. I was too afraid because of what he had just done to me, what he could potentially do to me further, and worse, what he could do to my children. I have first and foremost always wanted to be the best mom that I could be. And when I knew that things weren't right, it was too late, and I was too afraid to get out. I didn't know how to ask for help, and he was very crafty. And I was afraid that he would try to take my children and that he would hurt them, or that he would hurt them anyways just to hurt me. Now, I am living safely with my children. I never have to deal with that man again. He ultimately himself. When I was taken from my home, my children were also taken at the same time. He tried to flee the country. They wouldn't let him. But I believe that that was God. God knew that I'd been through enough. God knew that all the people that he had hurt had been through enough. It's not easy. I'm navigating being a single mother, living with disabilities. When this initially happened, I was fully blind. I have, by the grace of God, regained vision in my left eye. I'm not sure that I'll ever be able to see out of my right eye again, but I pray for it. But even if I never would have regained my eyesight, I'm still grateful to be alive. I survived things that nobody should. Besides the physical wounds and scars that you see, the mental scars are so much more. Chronic PTSD from an almost 1.5 year torturous ordeal. There's major trigger warnings throughout my story. I'll have to continue this in a part 2 and a part 3. But my main purpose for this is because I want to help you. If there's somebody out there that doesn't feel like they're safe enough to get out, that doesn't feel like that they can get out, I'm here to tell you that you can. And this isn't to preach at anyone or to tell you what to believe, but God's listening and God is watching, and there is purpose to the pain and there is purpose to the suffering, because I now feel that I have a level of compassion that I never had before. And I truly just want the world to be a better place. So if I can just reach one person with this, I would like to. Stay tuned for part 2. Before I make my part 2, I really wanted to take the opportunity to thank everyone for the amazing support and love. When this was first posted, I did not expect the type of feedback and reaction that this is getting. And it's wonderful. I am completely overjoyed and also overwhelmed by the amount of love that I feel and how much I really know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Throughout the 1.5 years when things were really bad, it was just almost repeated to me every day that nobody liked me and nobody loved me. Look, you haven't talked to your parents in such a long time. No one reaches out to you. Nobody cares. And the thing is that even with a strong sense of self, constantly hearing that you're ugly and you're terrible and your children and the world would be a better place if you yourself, it starts to eat away at you. And in my case, I hadn't spoken to my parents in almost 1 year by the time that this happened. My sisters, even longer. People at work noticed that things were wrong, but I was too afraid to talk about anything. I became completely different. What I'm trying to say is that it messes with my head a little bit, but in a good way. The amount of support and love that I've had. Because you're truly showing me what a liar he was. And it's also showing me that we are all really out here to support one another. Thank you so much for the comments to each other, sharing each other's stories, and the private comments that I've been getting from people. They've been wonderful. I've had people share their stories with me and tell me how hearing my story has either inspired them to get out, or there has been people that have said that they thought about going back. Let me tell you, when I read that comment that you left last week and you thought about going back, but that now you're not, that was it. That was it right there. That's why I'm doing this. And it is very hard to share. It is very vulnerable, and I'm still getting used to that feeling, but it feels like what I'm supposed to do. I really want to thank my parents and my family who I have reconnected with. Without your support through this, and without your love, and without your support over the years, I don't think I ever would have become the strong person that I am now to be able to survive what I did. As I like to say, I survived the devil, and so it's time to do God's work now. I also really want to thank the doctors that helped to put me back together. This will come in later parts, but I would like to share that when this first initially happened and I was airlifted to Kansas City, I knew that it was bad, even though that I couldn't see, and they had me on so much medication to not feel the pain. I knew how bad it was. And the doctors worked so hard. They worked so hard, and they were just trying to figure out what happened. And I wouldn't tell them anything. There was the lie that will be covered in part 2. But I really want to say thank you to Dr. Sokol. You made me to at least where I am now. And I know that it's still a work in progress. And I really just want to say thank you so much for being so caring and being so amazing at what you do. I also want to thank the few military doctors that have been helping me through my recovery, as I was medically retired from the Coast Guard after this happened. I would specifically like to thank Dr. Bueller, as you really, really helped to set me into the right direction. I just want to say thank you again. I will be posting a part 2 tomorrow, so stay tuned. Have a blessed day. Hey everyone, so it's time to continue with my story. There's going to be a lot of trigger warnings through the entirety of the rest of the videos that I post. I'm going to try my best to keep all of my videos to about 5 minutes. I'm not sure how long this video will be. There is a lot to unpack. I'm going to talk about the day before this happened, because I actually left that day. And then I'm going to talk about the day that this happened. A few things to keep in mind is, by this point, it had been going on for a year. It didn't start very physically abusive. That progressed over time. But by the time that we got to November of 2022, things were incredibly bad. The morning that I left, he had threatened me that he was tired of dealing me, and that he wanted to take me to this motel that he originally took me to months before, threatening to have men SA me and hopefully unalive me. When he made the threat this time, I believed him, and I knew that I had to go. I told him, I can't take this anymore. I'm leaving. I grabbed my keys, and I grabbed my phone, I grabbed my wallet. He watched me the whole time. I thought he might try to stop me, but he didn't. I ended up leaving the house without my kids. Up to that point, I had never seen him be abusive with the children. It was always just directed towards me. So when I left, in my mind, I knew that they would be safe. I left the house and I went to a lake that was a couple miles down the road. I didn't have anywhere to go. I didn't have any money. He, by that point, had taken my debit card, my credit card, any cash that I would have had. He made sure that he put gas in the car and he monitored my every step. There was a locating device on my car. There was an incredibly sophisticated program on my phone that not only allowed him to track me, but he could also see when I was writing a text message, when I had deleted something that I was typing. He also could listen in to phone calls when he wanted to, all without my knowledge. When I sat at the lake, I cried because I couldn't call anybody if I wanted to. He would have known, and who knows what he would have done. By that evening, he had already started calling me and texting me and asking me to come home. He told me that he knew that things had been bad and that he wanted me to come home. That he didn't know why he was being the way that he was, but that I just needed to come home. And I told him I can't come home. I can't take it anymore. It's been going on for a year now, and it's only gotten worse. He didn't like that, but he never came to try to find me. I moved to a different place so that nobody would bother me. I drove in a commuter parking area. I eventually fell asleep. I'm not sure what time, but when I woke up, I had a bunch of mixed calls and text messages from him, but my phone was also locked at that point. He ended up showing up where I was parked at. I seen our truck in my side mirror, and I instantly got scared. I didn't know what was going to happen. When he got out of the truck, he came over to search the car. I'm not sure what he was looking for, but he didn't find anything. He asked me to sit in the truck with him, and I did. And he started to apologize and beg for me to come home. He told me he didn't know what was wrong with him, and he wanted to make things right. He was laying it on really thick. But even then, I still held my resolve. And I told him I loved him. But there was no way I could go back. I couldn't take it anymore. He changed the way he was talking to me after that. And he told me, that's fine. If you decide you don't want to come back, then I'm going to tell your command, and I'm going to tell the cops about the night that you attempted to me. And I was shocked, because the night he was talking about, it's a night that I'll share in another video. But I most definitely acted in self-defense that night. But it also plays a huge role in my entire story. He was just such an evil man. He proceeded to tell me that if I ended up going to prison, that he knew people in the prison system and that he would make sure that I had a really terrible time. He would make sure that other people me and did things to me to make me wish that I had already myself. But then he said, but none of that has to happen. Please just come home. I don't want it to be this way. I love you so much. I want you to come home. I want to make things right. I want to make things right. This conversation went on for probably about 2 hours. Near the end of it, it was going okay. It had been pleasant. And he said, please, can we just go home? You know, we don't need to be sitting in this truck. Please just come home. You're leaving this weekend. You're going to be gone for a week. I was supposed to have been going to California for training. He then said, you know, we missed Thanksgiving yesterday. We could still have Thanksgiving today. Please just follow me home. Please, let's just make this right. And I decided to go home. The whole way back, he stayed right in front of me. He made sure that he didn't lose me. There was one time I thought about getting off on the exit to get on the highway and just drive as far as I could drive. But I didn't know what would happen if I did that. So I went home. When we got home, he told me to go inside and to go into the bedroom, and that he would meet me there, but that he was so ready to make things right. When I went into the bedroom, I waited for him to come in. And when he came in, he told me, I need you to lay on the floor. And I'm not sure why, but I did. It's really hard to explain why I complied with the things I did. I had no idea what he was about to do to me. But I knew pretty quick once I was on the floor. When I laid on the floor, I looked up, and all I seen was blue gloves and a white container. And that was the last thing I remember seeing. And the next thing I felt was a pain that is just so indescribable. I've been before, but this was different. Whenever he used my skin, I'm gonna need to continue this in a part 2. Thank you for listening. I appreciate and love you.
Wow. Wow. I'm going to wait for her to drop the part 2 of this, the remaining part of this, because it was all I could get. But just hearing this woman share a story just really makes my heart really, really heavy. Like, let me know what you think about this. Go ahead, share your thoughts, but please be respectful. Okay, please be respectful. I know I'll leave a name on the screen. Guys, I'm leaving a name. I normally don't tag people because I don't want anybody to go share hate, but I'm doing this because she was talking about helping other women get out of situations like this. So that's why I'm putting our handle. So if you know you're in that situation, if you know you want to go show her love, you want to go be support, please do that. But if you know you have other things negatively, please ignore it and just keep moving, please. um Ladies, we've had this conversation here multiple times, telling women to move in silence, especially when you don't want the marriage, or especially when you've had enough in the marriage and you don't want it anymore, or you, even in a relationship you want to break up. Do it quietly, silently, because it can be dangerous, and this is one of the example of it. And we could see like I could just see like some certain pattern that people look out for things like this. Young women out there look out for things like this. First, he isolated her from her family. She wasn't talking to her family. Second, he was psychologically abusing her. Sometimes, especially in my society, in my culture, if a man has not put a hand on you, most times when you tell people that you're struggling in that marriage and other people really don't get it, they don't understand it, because the first they'll ask you, is he beating you? Not understanding that there is a mental and emotional abuse and sometimes financial abuse that comes with it, that sometimes mess up with your head, that you will be in that situation longer than you should. And if in any sense you feel anything that you feel very uneasy and all that, that could be his first time, but that could also be very deadly. So take note of that and just move quietly. And another thing, this is another thing where yeah, on this channel we talk and we always tell women to be very intentional about who they choose to have children with, because whether you like it or not, these children are going to be what is going to be used as a bargain to get close to you, even when you want nothing to do with this man. And this abuse of physical harm, like, it's so scary. And a lot of women go through this, maybe not in this magnitude, but go through it. Sometimes they even unalive it just because you want to walk away. This is why when we talk and we tell people that decenter men and center yourself, put yourself in the center, put yourself first, take care of yourself, and be very intentional in your life. This is what I was saying. A lot of women are in relationship, are in marriages, because if you ask them what's the reason, they will tell you that I just want to, I was of age and it was time. A lot of women have kids because they were married. They feel like once you're married equals to you need to have kids. And this is why here on this channel we are telling women and we are preaching over and over again, be very intentional how you live your life. Even I'm not like, as much as you guys know already, yeah, I tell women don't do it. Marriage does not benefit us as women. It benefits men the most. Yes, I am married and I've been married for 11 years. Marriage benefits men the most. So you need to, if you want to do it, you're doing it intentionally because that's what you want, not because you have to do it, because you want to do it. And that's two different things. Some people have to like, hey, I have to get married, I have to get, do you want to really be married? Is marriage for you? Also having children, a lot of people do them because society expects it from them. And when you now, which is something we talk about a lot here on this channel, talking about how you should go do the self work, do the healing, be very self-aware, self-conscious, self-centered. When you are in that space, you, somebody can mess up here with you, and such situation you will walk away. And this is why we preach it even as younger girls. I know younger girls watch my channel, people when they are 20s, early 30s, even 40s, 50s, you guys will. But if you need to do the work. Maybe you've not been to therapy, and I know a lot of people, especially in my society, my culture, therapy is not a thing. But go talk to somebody, go be with somebody. And when you're with somebody and you are isolated, you don't have a support system, that's a big red flag. That's a big red. Whether you are in no contact with your family for whatever reason, which some of us are in no contact with our family member or one family member, but always have a support group, always have a support system. Now, for me personally, I have my sisters are my support system. My friends are my support system. I don't have a lot of friends, but they are my support system. We go, we talk, like they sometimes they help me navigate things. And you guys too are my support system. So go find that community, that space. Those, we can even be just one person, but because sometimes that person may even help you to clock in and let you know how to move. Like, you know what, don't do it this way. Try do it this way. Try do it this way. And if she wasn't alone and lost, this, I feel like she could have gotten out safely without this. And ladies, like, I'm just going to hold my thoughts here and see the remaining part of the video, okay? But let me know what you think about this down in the comment section, okay? Go on and share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversation. So go on and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push up my content for more people to see, and that will be you supporting this channel and this girl here. So go on and do that. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Deuces.